Okay, perfect, perfect. So, I messaged you, but I wanted to give you like a full background and like
Okay.
of like what's going on. So I'm doing like an interview series. It's for a class, but I really just want it to be out in the world for people to like enjoy and gain insight. So it's called Black.Queer.Alive. And what I'm doing is interviewing a series of Black and queer people and really just asking them about their own perspectives. Like, I feel every time we talk about Blackness and queerness, like together as an intersection, it's always through the lens of like homophobia, racism, transphobia, all these things.
Right.
So I feel like I want to get as many people to talk about their experiences, because it's important to hear our voices and to just see that we're able to connect and go from there.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yay, yay.
Yeah, I'm so here for it. That's amazing. So this is a class that you're teaching?
Class that I'm currently taking, but
Oh, okay.
I'm also like a big I'm big into queer theory. So I also I don't believe that like theory should just be like it shouldn't just stay in the head, like, or in the mind or in ideas. Like, we have to kind of create the spaces or create the conversations that we want to see in the world.
Exactly.
So it's for me, this is like this is a practice.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
All right, let's
Yeah,
start out. You got my questions?
I do. Yes.
Okay, good, good, good. So tell me about yourself, your name, age, and what you do in life.
Okay, well, my name is Erika Kayne. I am 30 years old and I am a DJ slash artist, creative, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. If you feel comfortable asking, answering this question, what is your gender expression and sexual identity?
I My gender expression, I guess you could say I'm non-binary, but um also I feel like I lean more towards like trans feminine expression. Always love makeup and like girly things, period. And as far as sexuality, I guess you could say I'm pansexual.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Where do you find home?
Now that's a question. I find home in community. I find home in those who support me and encourage me, as well as in some of the small joys in life that I feel like a lot of people just take for granted. Like there are so many moments where I achieve like just feelings of stillness just from like seeing the wonder in the world. And like, I think it's important to kind of zero in on and focus on the things that bring you the most feelings of contentment.
Got you.
Yeah.
I remember how we met in the community in DTLA, just like through parties, through like the underground queer scene.
Yes.
How did you get into DJing? Like, what was that process like?
Wow. Okay. So I remember I started off in the scene as just that girl in the club. Like I was rowdy, I was a dancer. Everyone just knew me as someone who would come out to the club and just turn up and just dance and like, just go hard. And from there, I kind of let people know that, hey, you do know I can rap. And like, I was performing as a rapper for a while. And those were some of the most incredible nights and memories I've ever had in life. Like, those were some of the most like raw underground experiences I've ever had. I remember standing on top of like a cinder block at a show and just rapping and You know what I mean? Feeling the energy and hearing people's critiques. Like that was fun, but in some ways I started to feel very exploited. Like people would just call me and be like, "Hey, you want to be put on this lineup to rap? And we don't know how much it's gonna pay or if it pays, but come out." And I was just like, "Okay, girl, that's getting old." Like, um, so then I just started DJing. Music has always been like a common thread within my life. So, and I've always been really passionate about it. So I just started like practicing on my computer at home and like picking new songs, hoping that things would get better. And like, I would just practice all day, every day on virtual DJ for hours.
Mhm.
I booked my first show, and it was actually at the Lexington in downtown.
Yeah, that used to be hot.
That was the spot for a while. Like it
Quick,
was so
oh,
much
yeah.
fun. Yes, I miss those days. I played my first show there, and like the rest is history.
Mm.
Yeah.
When did you start rapping, or when did you decide that like rapping was something that you were gonna, yeah, pursue?
Oh, that I wrote my first poem when I was like 18, and they were terrible.
As
But
most 18-year-old
yeah,
poems are.
the most cringe-worthy, just awful, jumbled, pretentious messes that I could have ever made. And then from there, I was like, okay, maybe I should try rapping just because wordplay has always been fun for me. And it was okay, but I think like I got better the more that I kept writing, and like over the years, I kind of got more of an idea of what I wanted to say and how I wanted to say it. You know, I think when you're first playing with an art form, like initially, unless you're some kind of virtuoso or something, like things can be kind of shoddy. But over time, it just became something that I was like, whoa, like I can actually rap, like, and I still do it sometimes, but I don't know. I feel like in a perfect world, if it were up to me, like I would be rapping and DJing at the same time. And I
Okay.
kind of feel like that's what I want to work towards and move towards, because I feel like that would be really, really innovative. I can't say that I know too many people who are out there like doing that right now. So hopefully one of these days I can like start incorporating actual rapping into my DJ sets. I think that would be really, really, really dope.
That would be dope. I would love to see it. Well, I feel like I remember the last time I threw the blackout party at the Lash a couple years ago. You
Yeah.
grabbed that microphone and you started spitting. I was like, oh my
Did
God,
I really?
you did. You grabbed the microphone and you were like, da 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 da, ba, 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 like just going off. And I was like,
Oh
oh
my
my God,
gosh.
this is
That's
amazing.
madness. Oh, that sounds like me.
Um, I loved it.
Thank you.
Uh, what are you searching for?
You ask all the tough questions, and I love it. I am searching for many things. I'm searching for truth.
Mm,
I'm searching for peace. I'm searching for, I don't want to say searching for growth, but I'm reaching towards that. I'm also searching for a deeper self love, one that goes beyond the surface, one that's more than just like routine self care and like makeup and pretty pictures, like something that goes a lot deeper than that. I think in today's society, we kind of get wrapped up in,
sorry, my bad.
oh, it's okay. I was saying, I think today we kind of get like, with beauty standards since the beginning of time, like everyone knows that there is like it can be tough to like show up for yourself and like truly embrace and love yourself at times, especially with this quarantine madness, because yeah, it's a lot. But yes, the question was searching for, right? What
Yeah,
am I
what are you
searching?
looking for?
Searching for also searching for more hmm. I think those three are it.
I
Yeah.
think those are beautiful answers.
Thank you.
If you feel like going down this path or not going down this path, let me know. Uh, I want everyone to be as candid as possible, but also like be very conscious of their own boundaries. Over
Okay.
the years, one of the things that I have absolutely like adored you for is you're very open and honest about mental health concerns,
Totally.
what that experience has been for you. Um, why do you feel so compelled to share that part of you? Um, yeah.
I feel compelled to share that part of me because I feel like, in a sense, it's a big part of who I am. And it, not only that, it makes me who I am in some respects. And I feel like mental health, there's still a lot of taboo surrounding mental health, especially within the Black community.
Mm.
And that's always been something that has kind of like irked me, and it's like these are real issues that real people, regardless of race, religion, whatever, suffer from. And like people just don't want to talk about it because it's uncomfortable. And I think that that may be something that motivates me to talk about it more because I've always been just a controversial bitch. It's very on brand for me, but yeah, I mean it's important. Like people are struggling, people are suffering, people who have never even dealt with mental health issues are struggling. And I feel like I've come leaps and bounds from where I've once been on this mental health journey. And now I don't talk about it as much anymore because I'm not really out here wilding and manic and doing the most, but depression is real. And I think more and more with like 20 somethings and 30 somethings, it just becomes one of those things that like we know is real and like everyone kind of deals with it. But I think it's important for people who have the insight and the knowledge and the experience. I think it's important for them to come forth and be like, hey, I've dealt with this and I know how to deal with it. So I don't necessarily feel obligated, but I do like just sharing my insights and my thoughts about certain mental health things.
I've always appreciated it.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
for reals, I feel like so many times people who do have mental health journeys, you're right, get pushed to the shot, pushed to the side. And
Mhm.
anytime I saw a post that you expressed, or anytime you were vocal about something, I applauded it, and I was like, yes, I know Erika is
Yeah,
there somewhere fucking fighting. Like I know that
right.
you're fighting to be heard, fighting to be seen, and that just always made me feel inspired and empowered. Um, because I know how it's important to you to still like maintain that visibility even through the hard
Absolutely.
times.
Yeah, yeah, that sums it up 100%. I think people kind of hold artists and creatives, like, especially within the music industry, I think people think that people have to have this like cookie cutter image and perfection. And it's like, girl, where that does not even exist. And um, I just like having like a bit of relatability and like letting people know that, yeah, we might, because social media is a powerful tool. And I think a lot of people can get things twisted and confused, but it's like it's just it feels more genuine to be more upfront and like more honest about whatever it is that you're going through and share it with the people who follow you and communicate with you and like want to keep up with you. You know, I feel like that's just something that's um, common sense, or to me anyway.
Got you. Got you. Who's the first person on screen, in music, or on stage that you felt connected to?
That is, I damn. Because I think that there's like each part, each era, each chapter of my life has like a specific diva.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had to choose
Name a few.
one, okay. Um, well, for one, I know Aaliyah was like a huge, just, I remember hearing her music probably for the first time when I was around 5 years old and just being like, yeah, she's that girl.
Mm,
Um,
I love
I
that.
love Aaliyah. I love Beyonce, of course, because she's Beyonce, and that's that on that. Like she's literally, she's out here doing everything. Like she's incredible. Janet Jackson,
Whew, that's my
sure.
favorite.
Yes. I mean, it's Jan fam all the way. I love Janet. Oh my God. Like, I just think she's so versatile and powerful, and like the choreography, the looks, everything she stands for. You know, it's like Janet is just everything. I love Janet.
Yeah, Janet's one of those people that I remember, like, she's the first pop star I ever fell in love with as a child.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
The first tape album, I had the Design of a Decade on tape, and I got that for Christmas, and I played that shit out.
Oh my God, yes. I live.
That was like, oh,
Yeah.
it's like, and
What a time to be alive. I wish I could have experienced that.
ah,
I mean, damn. Just like the album coming out and getting it as a gift and just, oh my
I mean,
gosh.
I was a kid. I was like maybe six, like 6 years old.
Yeah.
Like my first thing. But I just remember having that and be like, I don't know who this person is, but I need to find out everything.
About her, right.
Yeah, and it's like everything after Janet is kind of like underwhelming. I mean, we do have the Beyoncés and the Gagas, and there's so many other people, but it's just like Janet was like my introduction to like pop
Yeah.
star essence.
Yes,
Nothing beats.
exactly. Damn, I know. Yeah, I remember hearing her Velvet Rope album for the first time, and I was just like, whoa, like she's incredible. She's incredible. And I think she, like, it's a clear indication of how sexism works, like in the industry, because I feel like Janet as an artist compared to Michael is just,
Oh, Janet is so much better.
yeah, she's so much better. Like her albums
Leaps and
and
bounds.
the thought that she puts into an entire project just goes to show like she goes in, and I want to see her like, I mean, she's Janet, she's an icon, like
Yeah,
she's surpassed the legend. But yeah, I live for everything she does.
I love that. I love that. Um, Pivoting to another topic. When do you feel most safe?
I feel the most safe when I'm around other queer people, or like people of queer experience, people of color, people who are just, I don't want to say not normal, but just people who have like lived life, and people who are willing to listen, people who are open and receptive, and like just good people, you know. And it doesn't necessarily, you don't necessarily have to be queer, but if you're an ally, like, you know what I mean? It's a difference. It's a difference in energy. I think if you're coming from the same like mind frame or state of being, then it's a different vibe entirely. Um, but yeah, just around other queer babes who get it, that's when I feel the most safe.
I love that. When's the first time you realized you were Black?
Yo, that question, when I actually read that, I was like, wow, like that's major. I remember being like, I was like 5 years old, and we had these neighbors who were Latino,
Mm.
and we went over their house to play like tetherball or something. And I just remember it was like a brother and a sister, and like the little girl had like she was just mad anti-black.
Oh
Like,
wow.
and I was just like, how is this little girl like, and that's the first time I encountered that type of energy, and I was just like, so Miss Thing is upset with me because I'm black, or like it was just really
How
weird.
old was the little girl?
She was like 5 or 6, the same age. Yeah, and I it's vague, like this memory's so distant, but I just remember like us playing a game of tetherball and her saying some slick ass shit, and I was just like, bitch, where is this coming from? You know what I mean? At that age, you know, and I don't know, that was like the first time I kind of realized that there was like those pervasive ideas of just racism and nastiness,
Mm.
even in kids, you know, and it's learned behavior, obviously. So it was a lot.
Yeah, I can only imagine 5-year-old little girl just like saying random stuff that would have taken.
Yeah, it was bad.
When's the first time you realized you were queer?
Hmm, probably middle school, like just getting around everyone and like realizing how uncomfortable I felt a lot of the times. You know what I mean? Especially around like young boys and just the things that they say, the way that they behave. I was just like, oh my God, like something is not right. Like I'm not one of the boys. And it is clear, it is a clear indication because of just like, I don't know, there was just a lot of just like shenanigans that I was really uncomfortable with. Just yeah, I've always been someone who hung out with all the girls. Like that's just always been me. But I never really questioned why that was. You know, that was just like where I felt the most comfortable,
Mm.
you know. But I think when I started to realize like how girls socialized and how boys socialized in school settings, that's when I was like, okay, this makes no sense. Why do I not want to fuck with none of these boys? Like, you know, that was kind of the main thing that kind of made me realize that I was queer. So, yeah.
When did you decide that you were non-binary or trans?
That was actually like 5 years ago. Um, I think, you know, like in high school, I didn't really know much about the binary and gender and all of that. And to be honest, I had really short-sighted views on a lot of that because at that time I just identified as like a gay black man in society. So a lot of the things that I thought like at a younger age were very trans misogynistic and like very narrow minded. But as I got older, I was like, okay, I know that a lot of that energy just comes from like hurt. You
Mm.
know what I mean? So I started to look, I just started to look at the things that I like consumed and the things that I was interested in. And I was like, okay, that certain things just I started to question a lot of things. You know what I mean? And I started to think that, you know, I didn't necessarily identify with like maleness.
Mhm.
Like that was not something that I ever like attached myself to. I always was just adamant about like not giving a fuck about sports, not wanting to be under the hood of a car. Like that was just never me, and everyone knew that, you know. And I think once I started to like step away from being such a people pleaser and step closer toward like finding out the essence of who I was and what I was about, that's when I was like, oh, like now it makes sense, you know. But initially, when I was like 25 in 2015, that's when I realized it, and it just kind of shook my entire foundation, you know. And it caused like a lot of just mental stressors, a lot of mental like breakdowns. But now that I'm past that and I am where I am today, I'm just like, woo, like I made it, you know.
I love
Just turned 30 on March 7th, and I'm just like, wow, like, and it's a constant journey. It's an everyday thing. It's an uphill battle some days, and then some days it's smooth sailing. But once you realize like you are not necessarily just cis, then you're fine. Like you just feel so much better about everything.
That's powerful.
Thank you.
If you could go back in time and talk to your 12-year-old self, what would you say to them?
I would tell them to stop giving a damn about what other people think,
Mm.
because people are going to think what they're going to think and they're going to say what they're going to say regardless. So move on kindly.
Yeah.
And I would tell them to get piano lessons,
Mm.
because if I should have fought for them. Like um, I think that I would be way more advanced today musically if I had gotten music lessons as a kid, and instead of waiting until college to have gotten them. I would also tell them to um oh my god, to not tell your business to the girls at school,
Ooh, okay, that's a good one.
because don't tell the girls at school the trade that you're crushing on. Like just don't do that, because that caused so much drama. um Oh wait, 12-year-old self. Okay, that I might have told that to my 16-year-old self.
Hey, the 6-year-old stuff needs to hear some too.
Right. Okay. Tell the 16-year-old self to pass this down to the 12-year-old self. How about that?
Yes.
Um, but yeah, and to not be so shy and in your shell all the time. To like express yourself and let people know what you're about, and without fear of judgment. That's what I would tell my 12-year-old self.
If you can get a message from your 6-year-old self, what would you want to hear from them?
That I lived a fulfilling, exciting, unforgettable life, and that there's still more years down the road.
Mm.
That I was a fantastic artist and someone who is still doing the most and carrying on at 60 years old. That's what I would want to hear from my 60-year-old self.
Nice. Can you tell us more about any gigs that you got coming up or any projects that you're currently working on?
Well, right now I am DJing this party called Jiggle this Friday on Zoom, with, and it centers like fat, queer people of color. Like that's the main focus. And it should be fun. It's gonna be like 3 hours, so I'm just excited to be sharing what I'm currently like into, hopefully make people dance. Um and I've been keeping this low key under wraps, but I've been wanting to do a part two to this R&B mix that I have on SoundCloud because um like R&B is like my favorite genre, and I really want to make a second part of that, or a part two of that. And what else do I have going on? That's pretty much it right now. Like things are so up in the air. I'm just like with the quarantine and stuff, I'm just taking this time to like build my collection of songs, my libraries, get things organized, and like be prepared hopefully when quarantine is over to like start performing live again, because I miss the club, I miss all the babies, I miss seeing everyone. So yeah, that's pretty much what's going on right now as far as career.
What's your experience being fat queer?
That's a lot. Like, I just remember initially like joining like hookup sites, early on, and just seeing shit on people's profiles like no fats, no femmes. And I'm like, girl, where is this energy coming from? Like, it was just really weird, like seeing how seeing how much more valuable or how much more desirable other bodies were placed over mine,
Mhm.
and there's two sides to that coin, but at the same time it was just like this is so fucked up, yeah. I mean, there are certain spaces as well, like going into certain spaces or certain clubs in certain areas and like seeing how people will kind of react to you or respond to you, especially if you're like dancing and having a good time. There's always those people who will be like, yes, bitch, work, come on, turn it, turn it. And then there are those people who would just kind of like give you a look or like sit on the sidelines and hate. And I'm like, bitch, are you getting paid for that? Like,
Great question.
girl, I hope you're getting an incentive for that stank look on your face. Like, it never fails. It never fails. Like, especially in LA, like, there's a lot of fat phobia in LA, and it's really, really upsetting and really, really disgusting. I think fat phobia has prevented me from going out to specific events just because you can kind of like get a vibe or kind of have like a preconceived notion of how you think people are gonna react to you at certain bars in certain cities or certain spaces, and it's just like I'd rather not go
Mm.
because I know X, Y, and Z is gonna try me. But I'm learning to just like let go of that and just show up anywhere and just turn it, because it's at the end of the day, it's like, they're probably projecting, they're probably unhappy, who knows what the fuck they have going on,
For
but
sure.
yeah.
Wow. I think I have a similar reaction. I'm like, I'm not going to this motherfucking party, or I'm not going to go to this space where I know people are going to look at me a certain way, or just or like be overly compensating for like their discomfort, like people who want to touch you,
Yeah,
fetishize you. I stay away from those types of spaces
yeah,
as well. Yeah, it's
yeah, that shit's nasty. I can't.
yeah. Is there anything that I didn't touch upon that you would really like to express?
um well, I would just say that to those to anyone who is struggling with depression or mental health issues, that it gets better.
Mm.
Stay with us. Like, keep fighting the good fight, because it definitely gets better. As well as letting queer Black people know that they are special beyond words, beyond measure, and that they can do whatever it is that they set their minds to if they just believe that they can.
Mhm.
And um, yeah, that's pretty much it.
I'm gonna stop the recording very quick.
Okay.